My name is Himnish Goel, and I welcome you all to the Everyday Consultants podcast show, where we talk about the uncertain trajectory it takes for stepping into the shoes of a consultant's mind, from adapting to constantly learn through research and develop their own theories, objectives, and opinions for advising businesses from their area of expertise to communicate the fine line between an SME and polymath. Thanks for taking the time to join me, and let's tune in into today's episode of learning more about quality over quantity depending on the type of deliverable or extra credit assignments you do as a consultant. So for this topic, a lot of the times we tend to not notice where we'll do something, we'll get an opportunity, and we'll get it done. And whether or not it's in the field or domain that we're supposed to perform in, we look at it as a way of opportunity that we went above and beyond. But sometimes when the result comes out, that value that we did, whether if we're in a tech space and we do something that's related to design-wise, it doesn't totally match up. Even though we were doing it from the perspective of learning and opening our arms to constantly evolve as learners. But sometimes it's like how they say, you can stretch the rubber band to an extent, but that rubber band has to be the same color that you're stretching and not be an entirely different color that you've not experienced. And that's what they're looking for from consultants in the industry. That you do different things, but it should be like small sniff differences where it's relatable, like management, consulting, strategy, cybersecurity, data analytics, decision analytics. Sports leadership maybe can be considered, but something that's totally out of our expertise might just not match up. So as consultants, as much as we get excited to dive into new areas, you tend to want to start to pick an area that you find more interesting and try to go on that road. Because the more you explore in that, the more opportunities you get, the more expertise you have about that, and you yourself feel good that you have a knowledge bank to build off of. You might know a little bit about, if you're in the tech field, you might know a little bit more about the developer or the analyst or the cybersecurity person, or maybe the project management role. You might have a good insight, like I'm doing that type of role, but you won't know everything about it unless it's regarding a specific topic within that umbrella of technology. And same applies to design, same applies to business, same applies to all fields out there. So that is one thing I think we as consultants should keep in mind, that when we do get some opportunity to prove ourselves or doing a deliverable in the client space, to focus on the script or on the topic, because there's only 7 plot lines in every document or whatever. And what I mean to say is there's 7 main approaches that you're trying to consider, and it's always going to be in that context. And without spoiling it, you want to stay true to its story. Otherwise, it's not going to relate to the client, and you're going to have to do over that same process. And doing over a process is not easy. It really is not, especially when you're going through deployment stages for cloud migrations. Based on what I experienced, it could be different for developers, it could be different for management folks in the executive positions, but that is from what I've experienced, and that is what I'm telling you to not sort of do and look at the quality of a quantity perspective, or spectrum, you could say. So I guess if there are 3 things you could take away from this, it's any opportunity you get to prove yourself and to show you're willing to learn and go out of the way and do extra work for that company or that business or that startup, is to make sure it's within your field of domain, but can be small differences that are relatable. Stay to the topic and follow those 7 plot lines and not waver in another direction. And hopefully that was helpful for folks that didn't have a good understanding of that area, and maybe it cleared some fogginess around that topic that might not have been explained in this type of a scenario. But till next time, stay curious, keep on learning, keep striving, and put on that consultant's hat every single time. Until then, stay tuned for the next episode from Everyday Consultants. See ya. Please be sure to subscribe to the podcast and also leave a review of how much you enjoyed listening to Everyday Consultants. While you're at it, be sure to provide any feedback you might have on my LinkedIn posts in the comments below. And if you know of a friend who's curious about learning quick bites of information regarding the life of a consultant, then be sure to recommend my show to them or anyone that you think might benefit from listening to it. If you want to connect with me, you can find me on LinkedIn, Reddit, and Twitter by searching my name on the platform. If you're interested in looking at some of my other professional content that is currently in the works, then in that case, you can take a look at my Linktree portfolio that can be found below in the description or show notes of this episode. Don't forget to tune in to listening to all episodes of Everyday Consultants and wherever you're able to find your local podcast. Until next time, stay broad, be curious, and be passionate about listening to a conversation where knowledgeable advice gets provided about the world of consulting, about a consultant in our next episode. Peace out.